feel a weight on your back that is not yours. You wake up tired even though you have slept. You look in the mirror and do not recognize that haggard face. And the worst, the people around you have begun to treat you differently. Opportunities vanish, doors close, relationships grow cold without explanation, and deep down, you know that something is wrong, that someone is meddling with your story without your permission. Today I shall show you exactly who is sullying your name in the shadows, how this person operates to attract negativity against you, and what you must do now to turn this game once and for all. Stay until the end, for what I shall reveal here may completely change your situation from this day forward. Before anything else, I must tell you a truth that hurts. Not everyone who smiles at you roots for you. Not everyone who embraces you wishes you well. And not everyone who says amen in your presence lives according to what they preach behind your back. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not paranoia. This is a biblical principle that appears dozens of times in the scriptures. Jesus himself was betrayed by someone who ate at the same table. Judas was not a stranger. He was someone from the inner circle. And that is exactly how it works when someone soils your image. That person is close, so close that you do not suspect them. Now think with me. When was the last time you felt that something simply seized up in your life? That job that seemed certain and vanished, that courtship that soured out of nowhere, that project that did not move forward, that health that plummeted without a clear diagnosis. You may call this bad luck, a bad phase, a cycle. But what if I told you that there is someone with a first and last name who is actively working so that your image remains soiled before people and before God? And what if I told you that this mechanism has both a spiritual and psychological explanation? Let us take it in parts. In social psychology, there exists a concept called character assassination. Researchers at the University of São Paulo have already documented this phenomenon in Brazilian corporate and family environments. A person, usually someone who feels envy or feels threatened by your growth, begins to plant seeds of discredit. They do not do this openly. They do not shout. They do not fight. They whisper. They distort. They tell your story by halves. They take a small mistake of yours and transform it into a giant narrative. And they do this repeatedly to strategic people. The result? When you arrive, the ground is already poisoned. People already look at you askance, and you do not even know why. In the spiritual realm, what occurs is even deeper. The Bible calls Satan the accuser of the brethren. In Revelation chapter 12, verse 10, it is written that he accuses the children of God day and night. But he does not do this alone. He uses human instruments, people who, often without realizing it, become mouths of malediction, people who speak ill of you, who project failure upon your life, who narrate your defeat before it happens. And when these words are spoken by someone close, the spiritual effect is devastating, because proximity amplifies the word. A curse uttered by a stranger has weight, but a curse uttered by someone who eats of your bread, who frequents your house, who knows your secrets, that curse penetrates deep. And this is where many people seize up. Because recognizing that someone close is sabotaging you hurts too much, the natural tendency is to deny it. It is to say, no, so-and-so would not do that. It is to think we are exaggerating. But I ask you, when was the last time you felt a pang in your chest upon hearing someone's name? When did your body react? A chill in the stomach, a tightening of the heart, when thinking of a specific person? Your body knows. Your intuition knows, and God is already showing you. He's showing. The problem is that you are refusing to see. If this video is making sense to you, if you have already felt all that I am describing, do one thing. Leave a like now. It is not for vanity. It is because when you like it, the algorithm delivers this video to more people who are also going through this. And subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed. Activate the bell, because the content I bring here does not appear just anywhere. Now let us go deeper. I want to show you the clear signs that someone is sullying your image. And I am not talking about guesswork. I am talking about patterns that repeat in thousands of reports from people over 35 years of age, especially in the Brazilian context where family and community coexistence is very intense. First sign, gradual isolation. You perceive that people begin to distance themselves without apparent motive. Friends who were close become distant. Relatives who sought you out stop calling. Invitations that previously came every week vanish, and when you try to approach, you feel an invisible wall. This happens because someone has already been talking. They have already planted a version of you that is not true, and people, instead of asking you directly, simply distance themselves. Second sign: financial sabotage. Businesses that were moving forward seize up, clients vanish, proposals are not accepted, money that should come in does not arrive. And it is not for lack of competence, it is not for lack of effort. It is as if there were an invisible hand pulling the rug from under your feet. In the spiritual world, when someone speaks ill of you with destructive intent, this creates a kind of blockage. The Bible calls this the snares of the wicked. In Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 to 19, God lists 7 things that he detests, and among them is, "He that soweth discord among brethren," and "a false witness that speaketh lies." When someone does this against you, they are activating a destructive principle that goes beyond the natural. Third sign: exhaustion without cause. You sleep and do not rest. You eat and are not nourished. You pray and feel that the words hit the ceiling and return. This is one of the most neglected signs. Neuroscience explains that chronic stress caused by toxic relationships and by environments where your reputation is being attacked activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis continuously. Cortisol rises and does not descend. The body enters a state of permanent alert, and spiritually this weakens you, because an exhausted body is a vulnerable spirit. Fourth sign, and this is perhaps the most painful: you begin to doubt yourself. You begin to think that the problem is you, that perhaps you really are not good enough, that perhaps those doors closed because you do not deserve it. And here is the perfect trap of the one who sullies your image. The final goal is not merely to destroy your reputation before others, it is to destroy the image you have of yourself. When this happens, the person no longer even needs to attack you. You destroy yourself, you sabotage yourself, you yourself give up. Fifth sign: disturbing dreams and nocturnal restlessness. Many people ignore this, but the spiritual world manifests with intensity during the period of sleep. Have you been waking up in the middle of the dawn without reason? Have you been having nightmares with known people? Have you dreamed of snakes, of dirty water, of persecution? These dreams are not random. In the biblical tradition, God spoke numerous times through dreams, with Joseph, with Daniel, with Pharaoh himself. And in the same way that God speaks, the spiritual world also alerts. If you are repeatedly dreaming of situations of attack, of persecution, of betrayal, pay attention. It may be the Spirit himself showing you that which your natural eyes refuse to see. I know the account of a woman from Minas Gerais, 52 years old, who for months dreamed that a childhood friend locked the door of her house from the outside. She woke up distressed, but gave it no importance, until she discovered that this same friend was spreading lies about her in the church prayer group. She said that she had serious problems in her marriage, that her husband was involved with wrong things, all invented. When the truth came to light, the entire church already looked at her with suspicion. The damage was already done, but the dream had warned her months before. And this is the point. God warns, God exposes, God reveals, but we need to be attentive. We need to stop normalizing what is not normal. We need to stop accepting as a phase that which is an attack. But here comes the turn, and this is the part I need you to pay great attention to, because I did not bring you here to leave you in the problem. I brought you here to show you the way out. The first thing you need to understand is, the exposure of the name is a divine operation. God does not let the enemy act forever in the shadows. A moment comes when the veil falls. A moment comes when the eyes open. And that moment may be exactly now, while you watch this video. In Numbers chapter 32 verse 23 it is written, "Your sin will find you out." This applies to those who are attacking you in the shadows. The lie has an expiration date. Slander has a due date. And when God decides to expose, nothing holds it back. But there is something you must do on your part. And this is where many fail. Because the natural reaction to betrayal is anger. It is wanting revenge. It is wanting to confront. And although confrontation in some cases is necessary, and the Bible even teaches in Matthew 18 how to confront the brother who sins, the first attitude is not external. It is internal. You need to shield your heart before cleaning your name. What does this mean in practice? It means stopping feeding the person who attacks you with information about your life. Many people in the Brazilian context, out of politeness, out of custom, out of fear of appearing rude, continue opening their intimacy to those who are using it as ammunition. Stop that now. Information in the wrong hand is a weapon. Drastically reduce what you share. You do not need to fight. You do not need to make a scandal. Just close the tap. And here goes a very important detail that we need to speak about openly. WhatsApp. That family group, that church group, that group of work colleagues, inside there circulates information that can be used against you. How many times have you shared an achievement in that group and shortly after felt that something soured? How many times have you sent a photo of the family gathered and then came a wave of negativity without explanation? I am not telling you to leave all groups or isolate yourself from the world. I am telling you to be strategic. Share less. Observe more. Keep your victories in your heart before announcing them to the world. Because not everyone who celebrates with you on the outside is happy on the inside. And envy, when it finds information, transforms into accurate ammunition. Second step, restore your image before God before restoring it before men. Often in the midst of the attack, we distance ourselves from prayer, from biblical reading, from communion. And that is exactly what the enemy wants. He wants to isolate you from God. Because while you are connected, he has no real power over you. Psalm 91 is clear. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The key word here is dwelleth. It is not visiting once in a while, it is living. It is making the presence of God your permanent residence. And here enters something I need to share with you, because it has to do directly with this process of restoration we are treating. If you feel that you carry a weight that is not yours, if you perceive that there is a spiritual mission upon your life that goes beyond the common, if you understand that your family depends on a spiritual covering that only you can offer, then what I'm going to tell you now is decisive. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, The Manual of the Chosen by God to Protect the Family. This material was born exactly for people like you who are in the middle of this invisible war and need clear, biblical, and practical direction to turn the game. It is not another empty motivational book. It is a dense guide built upon deep spiritual principles which has already transformed the reality of thousands of people who were exactly where you are now, suffocated, attacked, not knowing how to react. The link is here in the description and pinned in the comments, and I ask you, do not leave it for later, because each day that passes without this spiritual shielding is one more day of exposure. If this touched your heart, write here in the comments, I accept my mission, because this simple act of declaration is already a spiritual milestone in your life. Now, returning to the structure of what we are treating, the third step for you to reverse this situation is to understand the power of your own word over your life. Whoever is sullying your name uses words as a weapon. But you also have a weapon, and it is more powerful. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:21, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." This is not a metaphor. This is an operational spiritual principle. What you declare over your life has weight in the spiritual world. So I ask you, what have you been declaring? When you wake up in the morning, is the first thing that comes out of your mouth a complaint, or is it a declaration of faith? When you look at your financial situation, do you say, "It will never improve"? Or do you declare, "God is opening paths that I do not yet see"? When you think of that person who betrayed you, do you curse or bless? I know that blessing those who do you harm seems like madness. It seems like weakness, but it is exactly the opposite. It is the most powerful strategy that exists, because when you bless those who curse you, you disarm the spiritual attack. You take the fuel from the fire. Romans 12, verse 21, "Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good." And pay attention to this. When I say bless, I am not saying to pretend that everything is fine. I am not saying to be a fool. I am not saying to allow them to continue mistreating you. Blessing is a spiritual act, not an emotional one. You can bless someone and simultaneously distance yourself from that person. You can wish well and at the same time establish solid boundaries. This is spiritual maturity, and it is exactly what separates those who win this battle from those who stay trapped in it forever. Fourth step, and this is strategic. Identify the pattern. Every reputation attack follows a script. The person who sullies your image generally acts at specific moments. When you are about to rise, they attack. When something good is arriving in your life, they appear with gossip, an insinuation, a comment that undermines your confidence. This is not a coincidence. It is strategy. Both from a psychological and spiritual point of view, the attack is timed. So begin to observe. Write it down if you must. When did the worst moments come? Who was nearby? Who knew of your achievements before they were sabotaged? This exercise of awareness is liberating, because when you identify the pattern, you break the cycle. Now I want to speak about something that is rarely discussed in videos like this, the role of forgiveness in this process. And I know that this word, forgiveness, has already been so trivialized that it has lost its strength. But I am not talking about the cliché religious forgiveness. I am talking about forgiveness as a tool of personal liberation. While you maintain anger, resentment, and a thirst for justice against those who did you harm, you are energetically and spiritually tied to that person. You carry their weight. You think of them when you should be thinking of your plans. You dream of them when you should be resting. To forgive is not to acquit. It is to let go. It is to say, I deliver this person and this situation into the hands of God, and I free myself to walk. I remember a man from Goiás, 47 years old, a merchant who spent 3 years nurturing a grudge against a partner who destroyed his image in the entire city. The partner said he was dishonest, that he had embezzled money, that he was not trustworthy. Clients vanished, suppliers cut credit. The family went through need, and this man lived consumed. Each day was dedicated to thinking about how to strike back, until, in a service on a Wednesday night, he decided to let go. It was not easy. He cried, he trembled, but he declared in a loud voice, I forgive and deliver into the hands of God. In less than 4 months, 2 old clients returned without explanation. A new supplier appeared with better conditions than the previous ones. And the partner who slandered him? He lost his own business due to internal problems. God is just, but he expects us to let go of the rope before he pulls our situation up. And when you do this truly, not from the teeth out but from the bottom of the soul, something changes. The weight leaves, clarity returns, energy returns, and the doors that were locked begin to open, because forgiveness clears the channel between you and God. While there is bitterness, the divine flow is compromised. When the bitterness leaves, the blessing returns to flow. If you have reached this point, I must tell you, you are not here by chance. This video found you at a precise moment, and what I am sharing is not distant theory. It is applicable today, now, in your house, in your work, in your family. And if you feel that this spiritual war over your life needs a response to match, if you understand that protecting your family is more than praying, it is acting with knowledge and spiritual authority, then the manual of the chosen by God to protect the family is the next step. It is in the description. It is in the comments. It is your decision. But do not ignore what you are feeling now. Fifth step, rebuild your image with actions, not with words. After someone sullies your name, the temptation is to go out explaining yourself, to go from person to person trying to tell your version. But this generally worsens the situation, because whoever has already been contaminated by the lie will hear your explanation with suspicion. The best defense against slander is your life. It is your character in action. It is delivering results. It is treating well those who treat you poorly. It is prospering in silence, because when your life speaks, mouths are silenced. Think of the following scenario, which is very common in Brazil. Someone spreads in the neighborhood, in the family WhatsApp group, in the work environment, that you are no good, that you did this, did that. Your first reaction is to enter that group and write a huge text defending yourself. But what happens? People read it and think, he who owes nothing fears nothing. The more you justify yourself, the more guilty you seem. Now imagine the other approach. You do not respond. You continue doing good. You help those in need. You work with excellence. You treat people with respect. Gradually the truth begins to appear. And the one who lied begins to contradict themselves, because a lie needs constant maintenance, and the truth does not. In Matthew 5 verse 16, Jesus said, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Do you perceive? He did not say explain or argue, he said shine. Your light needs to shine so strongly that the shadow of the other loses its effect, and this is a process. It does not happen overnight, but each day that you live with integrity, with faith, with purpose, is a day in which the lie loses strength. Sixth step, surround yourself with people who honor your image. In Brazil, we have a strong custom of keeping everyone close. Family is sacred. Childhood friendship is untouchable. But the truth is that not every coexistence is healthy, and keeping someone toxic in your life out of social or family obligation is too high a price. You do not need to cut relations with violence, but you need to choose with wisdom who has access to your intimacy, who knows of your dreams, who knows your weaknesses, because that information in the wrong mouth becomes a weapon. In the right mouth, it becomes a prayer. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 to 12 says that two are better than one because if one falls, the other lifts him up. But pay attention, the text speaks of someone who lifts up, not someone who pushes. It is no use having 10 people around if none of them lifts you up when you fall. A single real person is worth more than 100 who pretend. So do this inventory now. Who in fact seeks you out when you are not well? Who celebrates your victories without reservations? Who speaks well of you when you are not present? These are the people who deserve your trust. The rest is the audience. Now to close, I want to tell you something that perhaps will change your perspective on everything you are living. There is a verse in Genesis 50 verse 20 which says, "But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good." The one who said this was Joseph, the same Joseph who was sold by his own brothers, betrayed by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in prison, slandered, defamed, abandoned. And in the end, he became the second most powerful man in Egypt. He fed entire nations. He even fed the same brothers who tried to destroy him. Notice the greatness of this arc. Joseph did not need to take revenge. He did not need to expose his brothers publicly. He did not need to shout his innocence. God did that for him, and he did it in a way that no human being could plan. Each pit into which Joseph was thrown became a step. Each prison became a school. Each betrayal became preparation for the throne. And if you are in your pit now, if you feel that slander threw you into an emotional prison, if it seems that everything conspires against you, hold on tight, because the same God who rescued Joseph is watching you. There is a detail of Joseph's story that almost no one comments on, and that applies perfectly to what we are talking about. When Potiphar's wife lied about him, when she sullied his name, saying that he had harassed her, Joseph did not defend himself. There is no biblical record of Joseph trying to prove his innocence. He simply trusted that God knew the truth, and he was unjustly imprisoned. He stayed years in the dungeon. But it is inside the prison that he interprets dreams. It is inside the prison that he prepares himself. It is inside the prison that he develops the wisdom that later would govern a nation. So I ask you, what if the place where you are now, this place of misunderstanding, of a soiled name, of closed doors, is exactly the place where God is preparing you for something greater than you imagine? Your story may be following the same script. What they are doing against you may be exactly the ingredient that God will use to elevate you. Each lie told against you may be the step of the ladder that will take you to the place that God prepared. But for that, you need to act. You need to shield yourself. You need to position yourself spiritually. You need to leave passivity and assume the role that God placed upon your life. This video is ending, but the transformation needs to continue after the screen goes dark. Everything that was said here touches on a central point. There is someone trying to rewrite your story, put dirt on your name, and divert the destiny that God traced for you and for your family. You now know this. You know how it works. You know the signs. You know the steps. But knowing is not enough. It is necessary to act. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the manual of the chosen by God to protect the family. It gathers everything you need to rise with authority, shield your house, and fulfill the mission that was placed upon your shoulders. The link is in the description and in the comments. Access it now because this opportunity may not be available for long. If this content spoke directly to your heart, write in the comments, "My name is clean before God." Share this video with someone you know needs to hear this. Subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell, because this is only the first part of a revelation that goes much deeper. God bless you, and remember, whom God cleanses, no one soils.